Hello, welcome photographers. Good to talk to you. I wanted to do a quick tutorial on proper techniques for taking still images. On this particular tutorial, I want to talk about dark corners in still images. Let's take a look at a recent tour that came in. Do you see how this tour, do you see how these pictures, they have darker corners? This whole area right here is dark. Now, one of the main keys to fixing this is, well, you could add more flash. You could have more fill flash. That would take care of the uneven lighting problem. You could get a diffuser on your flash if you're not using that. There are some camera settings that you can adjust. You can adjust ISO. You can adjust exposure compensation. But one of the biggest keys here is having proper flash concentration on the whole image and not just in the center. Okay, let's take a look at a few of these pictures here. And you can see here we have this bright area here. Do you see this bright area? Darker corners still. There's that one we already looked at. And you can see here, darker corners, brighter center. What I like to do is I like to use a tripod most of the time when I'm taking stills. And I tend to bounce the flash off of the wall behind me. Now, when I do that, it decreases the light power coming from the flash, right? Because I'm bouncing it off of the wall behind me. So what I do to make up for that is I turn up my ISO, and that makes the sensor more sensitive to light. Okay, it takes in more light and makes the picture an even brightness all the way around. So let's keep looking here. You can see here, this has darker corners. Let's take another look here. I just want to show that this is happening. This area over here is really dark. Do you see how this is all dark over here? And we'll actually, okay, here's a great example. It's really bright in the center here. So if I was shooting this picture, I don't mind the angle. I like the angle. But I would bounce the flash off of the wall behind me. I would point the flash behind me, and depending on how far away the wall is, I may need to really crank up my ISO. Maybe my ISO gets turned up to 800 or 1000 or 1200 or 1600, or maybe since I'm using a tripod, I will use a slower shutter speed, and that will fix the problem also, and that will decrease the grain. When you use a higher ISO, depending on your camera, you could introduce more grain into your picture. So you really want to have that even lighting. The real key is using your flash properly and using a tripod. You gotta have a tripod to have sharp images. If you want to, I usually shoot with an f-stop of f8 at least, or f10. And what happens when you do that is it slows down the shutter speed so the camera can have enough light in it, and that's why you need the tripod. But bouncing the flash behind you will help this darkness in the corners here. So let's say you do take some pictures and you need to edit them. You know, I highly recommend Photoshop, Lightroom. You can pull a picture into these programs and very quickly edit them. I'm using a program today here called Easy HDR. I enjoy it. It works well. It adds a little bit of an HDR enhancement to the picture, and it works good. Let's do this. Let's edit this picture using this program. I just want to show you how easy it is. And it takes less than a minute. And these are really big pictures, so I could, turn it down a little bit before I pull them in here. But let's look at this here. I'm going to turn this down just a little bit. I'm going to turn down the saturation a little bit here. It's really making those red pillows really red. And I'm going to make this picture brighter overall. A little bit there. And I'm going to work on these corners. They're a little bit dark. So I'm going to go down here to this vignette tool, and I'm going to brighten up the corners just like this. All right, excellent. Now, it would be better if you did this at the photo shoot yourself and you made adjustments with your camera. But all is not lost if you bring it home and you need to edit it. So we edited, we fixed it up a bit here, and you can save that and you can use that. Let's just do one more picture here. All right, let's bring this picture in here. Here's another photo that has dark corners on it that could use a little bit of editing. So let's pull this in here. Let's take a look at it. Okay, already you can see that by brightening this up a little bit, you can see it really got some strong grain in it. And I don't like that. Let's do this. Let's just try to brighten this up a bit. Let's add some more sharpness here. Because that picture was, let's not do that much. But let's make it sharper. Let's use this vignette tool and make these corners brighter. But just a little bit of editing, not getting too serious. We really helped this picture. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to, if you don't take the picture correctly at the photo shoot, when you come home, fix it up a little bit. Make it so it looks good so you can send that picture in. I hope these things made sense for you today. And if you need some help, you can call your manager here at CirclePix. You can get an appointment with me and we can go over some techniques and steps. But really, these things are pretty simple. And using a tripod a lot of times is key when shooting still images to get the lighting as correct as possible. Thanks for being here. Bye, everyone.